Aquaba, welcome to the amazing history of Black people. Incredible Black people from Simcoe County and the surrounding area. You see, Black people have been in Canada for a very long time. After the War of 1812, Simcoe County's first Black settlers moved into this area from 1819 to 1831. War veterans from the Colored Corps were given land by the government. These people were among the first permanent agricultural settlers in the area. Families settled along Wilberforce Street. The name of the road was in honor of the British parliamentarian who worked so hard to abolish slavery. The Oro Black settlement grew to about 90 families, but then diminished as the settlers found income elsewhere. There was a military strategy behind the decision. Settlers would provide support for the fort at Penetanguishene by providing food and other local supplies, and if war broke out with the U.S. again, the trained militiamen could be armed to defend the region. The last descendant of the original settlers, James Thompson, lived in Oro Township until he died at Barrie Royal Victoria Hospital on Sunday, December 18, 1949, at the age of 72. Descendants of some of the first Black settlers remained in Oro for nearly 130 years, and other parts of Simcoe County, such as Collingwood, Barrie, and Toronto, to this present day. One incredible individual is the amazing Janie Cooper Wilson. Meet Janie Cooper Wilson, a legend in her own right. She has fought many things to save the historical sites of her ancestors. Janie's grandfather, Janie's grandmother, a living legend. A direct descendant of the first Black settlers in Simcoe. Founder and facilitator of Bethel Union Pioneer Cemetery Committee, a speaker, historian, and a tireless champion for the preservation of the history of Black settlers in Simcoe. A plaque was dedicated to the historical site, and the inscription reads as follows: dedicated to the memory of the Black pioneers who settled in this area. The first settlers were soldiers of Captain Rumsey's company of colored men, who fought the Americans in the War of 1812. The next wave of settlers were freemen from the northern U.S. They initially settled on Wilberforce Street, line number 1, worshipped in this church, and were buried in this and nearby unmarked cemeteries. It is with the highest esteem we acknowledge the challenge of this community and their unique spirituality. Commemorating the 150th anniversary of this heritage church, 1849 to 1999, the Township of Ormondonte, Ian Beard, Mayor. The settlers worked tirelessly, and with that unmistakable African spirit, they continued to build and never give up, so that tomorrow would be a better day for their future generations. They sought for economic power and wanted to infuse among their people a sense of community and belonging. Many of the settlers moved to the urban areas in search of jobs as servants and laborers, and some went on to start their own businesses. Our incredible Black trailblazers who in some situations developed thriving, self-sufficient communities. We celebrate our Blackness because you made it possible to pave our courage. So on the shoulders of our ancestors, we proudly stand, and we give thanks for their strength and perseverance, for their love and their joy, for the power they gave us to continue today. And we give thanks to our Indigenous communities for sharing their land and supporting us along the way. In honor of our ancestors and first settlers on Wilberforce Street and first Black settlers in this area, we will say their names together. United Empire Loyalists in Simcoe. Note, dates indicate date of ownership.
Solomon Albert, John Jackson Jr., Woodford Mills, George A. Darkman, John Yatt, George Anderson, John Call, William Davenport, James Long, William Fraser, James Henderson, John Long, Samuel Edwards, William Allen, Ephraim Jackson, Henry St. Denis, Luther Barber, James Bush, Daniel Colley, John DeLay, George Eddy, William Hartwell, Caesar Hepburn, Benjamin Johnson, William Leonard, Jeremiah Monroe, John Nelson Morris, Noah Morris, Henry Montgomery, Henry St. Denis, John Smith, Edward Summer.